Hello and welcome. This is the daily headline newspaper update on the Insider Podcast. Today, Monday, June 24, 2024. We have the Punch newspaper, Vanguard, we have Business Day, The Nation, and outside Nigeria, we have Daily Mirror. Starting off today with the Punch newspaper, this one right here on page 31. We're seeing the banner headline, Crude Price Hike, Dangote alleges IOC's frustrating refinery. With rider, Dangote accuses NMDPRA of granting licenses to operators to import dirty fuel. Also on page 31, we're seeing food price hike worry operators amid 1.2 trillion naira Greek budget. Also on page 32, Nigerians borrow 3.9 trillion naira as economic crisis bites harder. On page 2 of the Punch, cholera outbreak, 22 states get kits as Lagos crisis hit 500. Now moving on to other stories on the front page. On page 8, federal government to punish supervisors approving salaries for JACPA workers. Interesting. On pages 4 and 5 of the Punch, Christ Embassy, Lagos Mules demolition, Ohakilome promises bigger church. And the last one right here on the front page of the Punch, on page 32, Naira sells 1,485 per dollar as official forex market records $23 billion. Now moving on to other newspaper, this one right here on the front page of the Vanguard on page 20. Textile industry faces total collapse as revival efforts fail. And on the arts page of the Vanguard on page 13, art icons reminisce about good old Nigeria. Now moving on to other stories on the front page on page 32, Dangote accuses IOCs of plotting failure of its refinery. On page 6, Nigerian pilgrims starving in Saudi Arabia, says Governor Bago. On page 6, worshippers recount ordeal as fire gods Christ Embassy headquarters. Also on page 9, civil servants collecting salaries after relocating abroad must refund money. That's coming from the stable of the federal government. Now moving on to page 9, Labour to governors on minimum wage, rescue Nigeria from state of resentment and misery. Interesting. On page 19, appointments. NIBSS appoints leaders for Afrigo Pay to drive Nigeria's card scheme. And on page 37, the sports page of the Vanguard, Rangers crowned NPFL champions to hold trophy presentation today. And now moving on to other newspaper, this one on the front page of Business Day, the banner headline, 200 Nigerian politicians, security officers own $1 billion Dubai properties. With rider, Atiku, El Rufai, Fagbemi, Uba, Dati, others linked. Nigerians second highest foreign property purchasers. And other stories on the front page of the Business Day. Banks scramble for investor funds as recapitalization hits up. Also, we're seeing on the front page of Business Day, micro transfers fuel 600 trillion naira e-payment boom. Also, on the front page of Business Day, why Nigeria's public debt is ballooning. And now we're seeing here also, Dangote refinery accuses IOCs of sabotage, price manipulation. Okay, now checking out The Nation now, the banner headline where IOC's frustrating rollout of petrol, says Dangote refinery with rider. Firm accuses government agency of aiding indiscriminate importation. On page 5 of The Nation, Kano government serves Bayero eviction notice from Nasarawa State. On page 11, governor raises dust over spending of 90 billion naira Hajj subsidy. On page 30, INEC retains placeholder as Akpata's running mate in Edo. On page 6, why Abuad remains top in varsity ratings by Afe Babalola. Also, the last one right here was seen on the front page of The Nation. Rivers Council workers plan protest over police presence. And page 4 also we're seeing state airports, how viable. Okay, checking out the Daily Mirror from Britain now. We're seeing here the banner headline, exclusive, the real Rishi, frozen out by Sunak for telling truth. Iceland Balls reveals Prime Minister blasted him for highlighting horrific food bank crisis. And also, home win, family joy as Miracle Man Alan Hansen leaves hospital. On the inside out, the Euros pull out inside. We're seeing Harry, don't panic. And those are all the headlines right here on today's Daily headline newspaper update right here on the Insider Podcast. Please feel free to share your reaction and comments on the question and answer box. Thank you and see you next time.